Welcome to Myth versus Fact. Today's topic, Ancient Rome. So we all know about the fall of the Roman Empire, but did you know that it was actually the second biggest city in the world at one point? Now, pause the video here if you want to make a guess as to what the biggest city in the world was at that time. Biggest city in the world, go. So back in the year 312, the population of Rome was around 1 million, give or take. But how does that compare to the rest of the world's cities? Well, the biggest city in the world at the time was Chang'an, which is in modern-day Xi'an, China. And its population was around 2 million people. Fun fact, that's around twice as large as Rome. The city of Chang'an was built in the 3rd century BC, and it was the capital of not just the Qin dynasty, but also the Han dynasty, which ruled over much of East Asia. Back to Rome. At its peak, the city covered an area of around 1,700 acres. That's bigger than Manhattan. Also, there were more people living in Rome during the 4th century AD than in any other European city for another 1,000 years. And even though ancient Rome was 8 times smaller than modern New York, it was still a very densely populated city. Historians estimate that there were around 5,000 people per square mile. For comparison, that's around 10 times more densely populated than modern New York. And finally, here's an interesting fact about ancient Rome's infrastructure. There was a public bathroom in every neighborhood. Back in those days, they didn't have toilet paper, so people used a sponge on a stick. No comment. Okay, now it's time for some rapid-fire myths about ancient Rome. Ready? Here we go. Did ancient Romans eat with their hands? Well, no. They actually used a spoon and a knife. Did ancient Romans own pet dinosaurs? Again, no. Dinosaurs went extinct around 66 million years before the Roman Empire existed. Did ancient Romans wear sandals? Yes, but only the lower classes. The upper classes wore more sophisticated shoes made out of leather. And finally, did ancient Romans speak Latin? Yes, but they also spoke Greek. In fact, Latin was sort of like their version of English, while Greek was their version of French. So if you wanted to be really fancy back in the Roman Empire, you would speak in Latin and Greek. That's all for today. See you next time.